I'm not sure where to start with this, but I guess some background is important. I'm a single dad, divorced for a little over 2 years now. My daughter is 9, and custody is split. She stays with me 12 days out of the month, every other weekend, and some weekdays sprinkled in between. The rest of the time, she's with her mom. I live with my girlfriend now, though we've only been together about a year. It's complicated. When my daughter is over, I make sure she knows this is still her home too. Her room is decorated exactly how she wanted. Pink curtains, glow in the dark stars on the ceiling, string lights, her books and toys neatly lined up on the shelves. She even picked the paint color for the walls. I want her to feel safe and comfortable here, because divorce is already hard enough on kids. That's why this whole thing rattles me so much. Because I know what I saw, what I felt, and if I hadn't gotten rid of that toy when I did, I don't know what would have happened to her. It started one Saturday afternoon. I was downtown, just walking back to my car after running errands. Out of nowhere, this woman stepped directly into my path. She looked strange, old, but not fragile. Her coat was heavy, wrong for the heat, and her hair was wild, like she hadn't brushed it in days. She didn't speak. She just extended her arms, holding a beat-up cardboard box toward me. I froze, confused, and asked if she needed help. She didn't answer, just pressed the box harder against me until I finally took it. Then she turned and walked away without a word. Inside the box was a Labubu plush. My daughter had been begging for one for months. They were sold out everywhere, and the resellers were charging insane prices online. This one looked a little used, its fur slightly matted, the eyes a bit dull, but I thought it was my lucky day. I shrugged, told myself not to overthink it, and brought it home. When my daughter saw it, she squealed like it was Christmas morning. She hugged me, hugged the toy, then ran off to show it every corner of her room. For the rest of that weekend, the Labubu never left her side. She ate dinner with it, brushed her teeth with it tucked under her arm, even buckled it into the back seat of the car when I drove her to her mom's house. It seemed harmless enough, until Monday. That's when she started coughing. Just a little at first, the kind of dry cough that sounds like the start of a cold. Then came the sniffles, the pale skin, the heavy eyelids. By Tuesday, she was running a low fever. She barely touched her breakfast, and when I suggested keeping her home from school, she didn't even argue, just curled up on the couch with her blanket and the Labubu. I set her up with cartoons playing quietly in the background, gave her some soup, and brought my laptop into the dining room so I could work while keeping an eye on her. For most of the day, she drifted in and out of sleep, clutching that plush like it was part of her body. By Wednesday, the fever had broken, and she said she felt well enough for school. She had some of her old energy back, though she was still pale. When I reminded her not to forget her Labubu, she shook her head. "It's staying here, Daddy. He doesn't like school." That caught me off guard. "What do you mean he doesn't like school?" She just shrugged, almost annoyed that I asked, and stuffed the toy under her pillow. I didn't press. I figured maybe she didn't want to risk losing it, or she was embarrassed about bringing a plush to class. So we left it behind. That was the first day I was home alone with it. At first, everything seemed normal. The house was quiet like usual when she wasn't there. But after lunch, I started noticing little things. I'd hear what I thought was the creak of the stairs, but when I looked, nothing was there. My office chair shifted slightly when I stood up to grab coffee. The bathroom door at the end of the hallway clicked shut on its own. All easy things to dismiss. Old house noises, drafts, my mind playing tricks because I was overtired. That's what I told myself. But there was one thing I couldn't shake. The air in the house felt different, heavy, like the rooms didn't want me in them. Even the lights seemed dimmer, as if the sun outside wasn't reaching through the windows the way it should. That evening, when I went upstairs to get laundry from my daughter's room, I noticed the Labubu wasn't under her pillow anymore. I found it propped against her window, sitting upright, its button eyes facing the driveway. I knew she hadn't touched it since that morning. I didn't even move it. I just grabbed the laundry basket and left. But I remember thinking, why did it feel like it was watching? The next day, my daughter's attitude changed. She wasn't sick anymore, but she wasn't herself either. Short-tempered, snappy, she barely looked me in the eye and spent most of the evening locked in her room. At one point, I knocked and asked what she was doing. She answered too quickly, "Nothing, Daddy," in a flat voice that didn't sound like her. When I peeked in later, she was sitting on the bed with the Labubu on her lap, stroking its head slowly like it was alive. That night is when everything really escalated. By Friday, things between us were tense. She was well enough to go to school again, but her mood stayed strange. She'd get frustrated over small things like me, reminding her to brush her teeth or put her shoes by the door. The kind of requests that normally wouldn't faze her. And every time I tried to talk to her about how she was feeling, she'd change the subject or retreat to her room. My girlfriend noticed it too. She told me my daughter seemed distant, like she was present, but not really there. That evening, while my girlfriend and I were cleaning up after dinner, I realized the house was too quiet. I went upstairs and found my daughter in her room, sitting cross-legged on the floor in the dark. The Labubu was in her lap, and she was rocking slightly back and forth, whispering something to it. When I asked what she was doing, she snapped her head toward me and shouted, "Go away, Daddy." I froze. She had never, in 9 years, spoken to me like that. Later, when I tucked her in, I tried to make light of it. "Rough night, huh? You'll feel better in the morning." She just rolled over and pulled the Labubu under the covers with her, facing it away from me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something about the look in her eyes when she yelled at me wouldn't leave my mind. Around 2 in the morning, I heard her voice again through the wall. At first, I thought she was on her tablet or maybe talking in her sleep. But then I realized the rhythm was wrong. Too fast, too harsh. I went into her room. She was lying on her back, clutching the Labubu tight against her chest. Her head was tilted slightly to the side, lips moving rapidly. The words poured out in a low guttural stream that didn't sound like anything human. Not English, not any language I recognized. It was like listening to a recording played at double speed. I called her name softly. No response. I shook her shoulder. Nothing. The words kept spilling out. Faster. Almost frantic. "Do not touch her, Labubu." I staggered back. It didn't sound like my daughter. It didn't sound like a child at all. Instinct took over. I grabbed the plush and yanked it from her arms. The instant I did, something surged through me, like an electric shock, but worse. My whole arm went numb, and for a moment, I couldn't breathe. It felt like the thing fought me. My daughter gasped, her eyes flying open. She started sobbing, clutching at her chest, and through tears she kept repeating the same phrase over and over. "Daddy, the Labubu got me. The Labubu got me." I held her, trying to calm her down, but she was trembling violently. Eventually, she cried herself back to sleep, still mumbling about the toy in between hiccuped breaths. I didn't wait until morning. I took that Labubu outside, stuffed it deep into the garbage bin, and left it on the curb. At sunrise, I watched the truck take it away. I stood there in my driveway until I was certain it was gone. Since then, the house has felt normal again. No flickering lights, no footsteps, no heaviness in the air. My daughter is back to her old self. She never once asked about the Labubu. It's as if she doesn't even remember it existed. But I remember. I remember her voice, the command that wasn't hers, the way that thing shocked me when I touched it. And I keep thinking about that woman on the street. The way she pushed the box into my arms, without saying a word. I can't shake the thought that I wasn't the first person she gave one of those toys to. And I pray to God I was the last. That's the short version of what happened. There's actually a much more detailed version of this story that I cut down, just to keep it quick. If you want me to share the full version, every strange detail I left out, let me know in the comments, and I'll make it. Quiet Data.